Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett Studio inside the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth, Georgia, it's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts.
I'm so uplifted. I'm so encouraged. Greetings and salutations, everybody. It's your slightly annoying host, Stephen Julian. Welcome to another, hopefully one day soon, award-winning edition again of Gwinnett Business Radio. Just like Mike said on the intro, we are coming to you live from the Subaru of Gwinnett Studios inside the beautiful Gas South District Convention Center. We got two great guests today. Geoff Ekstrom is here from Oakstream Images, and Matthew Efird is here from Lighting Pros. You know who else is here? Is my fantastic co-host, Harper LaBelle.
Hey, welcome back.
Thanks.
I didn't say welcome back, Cotter.
Thank
I bet
you.
you watched that. Who's
Welcome
your favorite character?
Back.
Was it Barbarino or Epstein?
Everybody loves Vinny.
Washington?
I liked Washington. Boom Boom Washington, man.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Freddie Boom Boom.
Freddie Boom Boom Washington.
Was the other Horseshack, right?
Horseshack
What was his?
and Epstein.
Arnold?
Don't
I
forget
said
Epstein.
I said Epstein.
Okay,
It was
sorry.
right at the beginning.
Arnold Horseshack, yeah.
Well, welcome back to you.
Welcome back to you. And
I thought you
and
quit.
Thanks for holding down the fort. Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah,
I will never quit. Mike will have to drag me out of here kicking and screaming.
You want Mike to kick and scream when he's dragging you out?
No. I will be kicking and
Place
screaming.
the verb in the
I will
in the
be
proper
I will be
context.
behaving like such an immature brat when I get fired. I'm going to cause such a scene.
I'd like to see some pictures of that.
I know somebody who could take them.
Come on. Do you really?
And I know somebody who would light the scene perfectly.
I think we could have great lighting and work with me. Work with me.
Work with me.
Work with me.
Pout, baby, pout. Anyway, Geoff Ekstrom is here from Oakstream Images. Geoff, welcome to the studio. We've locked the doors. You can't get out.
Well, thank you, Stephen. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. Oakstream Images. You are a professional photographer. Tell everybody about your company and specifically what type of photographs you do and who you can help.
Yes, sir. So my company is called Oakstream Images. A lot of people ask me where Oakstream comes. It's actually a derivative of my surname. Ekstrom is oak by the stream, so that's where I came up with the number. I actually stole it from my sister.
You stole that question from
was
us.
her-
We
it
were
was
going to
her
ask
idea.
you. And
Wait
that's
a second.
very
We
good.
got a thief on
He
hand
took
here.
the question
That's
right out of my
unbelievable.
mouth.
Well,
No,
that's
I'm
my
just kidding.
sister. So
That's good. I like
she's
that.
okay with it.
Yeah.
But I'm a portrait and headshot photographer out of Alpharetta. I started my business 2 years ago after 36 years in the corporate world. Finally decided to do something I love versus something that I had to do to support my family. So kind of that point in life.
And even though you've done the business for 2 years, you've been a photographer a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Talk
yes.
about your start in photography and where all this background comes from.
So I started long ago out of college as a commercial art and photography major. First job right out of college was working for a commercial studio in Manhattan, shooting product photography for department stores. So it was, foot in the door. Shortly thereafter, the first year, I married my high school sweetheart and love of my life. So we decided to move west.
He got the shout out, Stephen.
Yeah,
he got that mandatory shout out to his bride.
check
Good
that
for
box.
him.
He
It's a
gets
good one.
bonus points.
He's
Keep
well
going.
done. We
Thank you,
weren't
sir.
even prompted, Geoff.
Yeah, so-
But you're in the middle of it. I want to know, when did you know that you had the eye? There's a certain picture that needs to be taken that everybody else is going, I like that. There are times where you're taking it before they get the chance to approve it, and that's the shot right there. That's my money shot.
Correct. So shooting people was something that I've always loved. I've been doing it, kind of on the side. I actually volunteered. My son's a director at Camp Sunshine and Camp UBU. So I would volunteer and shoot children in their natural camp environment, and just connecting with the eyes and seeing that certain image, I kind of developed that very quickly by being able to shoot a high volume of people. And that's when I kind of discovered that's what I love to shoot, is to bring out that emotion and inner person.
Were you a Kodak or a Fuji guy?
Actually, I'm a Nikon guy.
For the camera, I'm talking about the film, right? And the
old
paper,
film, it was
right?
always Kodak mostly.
The way I'd heard it, there's an engineer at Kodak who developed the digital camera, and Kodak said, thank you very much, we're not interested in that. We know our business line, don't tell us what to do. And the whole thing exploded. How has it changed for you in terms of being able to delete hundreds, thousands, millions of photos and not have to worry about all that loss?
Yeah, so, starting in photography when I did in the, early 80s, it was all film. So, the burden of developing and, retouching was, kind of a bigger thing. I think what really re-inspired me was my daughter re-gifted a digital camera to me when she had kind of grown tired of it, and it kind of...
Dad, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah, so she gave it to me, and it reignited my passion for shooting, and it made me realize how far we'd come digitally to be able to reproduce and go beyond what film could do. So that was really what kind of reignited my passion for photography.
So let me ask a couple of questions about the business today, because clearly anyone listening to this interview, it doesn't take long to figure out you're an artist. There's an art to what you do.
Thank you.
There's an art to getting the certain look, and then some people are, business owners who listen to our show are going, well, I don't have need of an artist, and you would say, oh, no, I think you do, because specifically you do two main types of work with people. Talk about the corporate headshots, and then talk about legacy portraits.
So there's a big difference between the two, and a lot of people look at them both as a portrait. It's a picture of a person, right? But the real difference comes in the depth of emotion that's brought out in each one. A business headshot is for a purpose, a specific purpose of being confident and approachable and showing that in an image for your clients. And that's what really has to come out. A portrait, a Legacy Heirloom portrait that I prefer, is showing a much deeper depth of emotion. It's just as you said, Harper, capturing that look. And it's a look that none of us know that we give, but we give it every day to everybody we see. Just that we can't see it because our eyes are looking out. We look in the mirror and we make a face to ourselves in the morning or whenever we pass by a mirror, but it's not the same facial muscle structure that somebody gives you when you're sad or you're concerned. It's similar to, we're all humans and we read people's faces and emotions every single day. So when you come home from work and you've had a hard day and your wife says, "What's wrong?" She just, without saying anything, read your facial muscles and said, there's something wrong. It's not his happy face. If you come home and you're in a happy mood, she'll say, "What happened?" Because she wants to know what happened good. So that's what I'm looking for when I do a portrait. When I'm doing headshots and personal branding, I'm trying to capture that approachable, confident look that you need to attract, business audiences.
I think sometimes when people think of their corporate headshots, I think a lot of business people are like, "Oh yeah, I have one," and then it doesn't take long to dig and go, "Yeah, you took that 15 years ago. Things have changed."
Or
but,
you took it yourself.
Right. Well, that's the other thing I was going to say is I think sometimes people look at the corporate headshots the way we looked at school pictures, which I don't think they do anymore, where everybody stands in a line and you have 5 seconds. All right, sit there, click. All right, move on. So talk a little bit about if a business were to call you, if a business owner, somebody who wants to up their branding and really do a good corporate headshot. First of all, do they have to come to you or can you come to them? Is that a choice? And kind of walk me through without, quickly, but tell me what the process is going to be like. What can people expect if they get a corporate headshot from Oakstream Images?
Certainly. So I prefer my studio because I have control over the lighting and the equipment is all there at my fingertips. So that's always the best option, is to take time to come to my studio and get that done quickly, efficiently. I can show you the images right away. We can make any changes you need or would like. I can come on location as well, though, which means I have to, have a mobile rig that I bring with me and set up, hopefully in a space big enough to capture. And it's going to have limited ability as far as the lights that I can bring and the equipment that I can bring with me. So I do both. I prefer the studio. I think you get a better product at the end when you come into the studio versus going on location. But I understand that a lot of businesses are not going to bring all of their employees over to my studio to do that. So if you have multiple employees and need that on location service, that's what I provide.
Geoff, I would imagine, I know this as not fact, but I may have the numbers wrong. It takes about 7 different muscles to make you smile. It takes over 100 for a frown. There's real simple things like that. You're a psychologist in many respects. You're a psychiatrist in some respects. You're a hair designer. You're a makeup designer. You're a fashion coordinator, jewelry in some cases. Your job is to help bring out the best in somebody who might be a little bit nervous and shy about this, and now that you've got to provide comfort and a trust level to where I'm going to get the best shot I possibly can out of you today. This is what works for me. Let's try it with you. Where am I missing? There's so many different things that you have to do to bring out a great shot where not only you but the client and then the client's friends are going, that was fantastic. I love what you were able to do.
Yeah, so I think I didn't realize how much I did, but
thank you for letting me inform you. You know, we got to honor you when we can.
Yeah, and that's really the difference of, what I do versus any other photographer is taking the time, making somebody feel relaxed as soon as possible, because we all come in with what I call photo face. Anytime a camera is pointed at us, our brain says, "Oh, make your photo face," and your muscles tighten
right?
up.
Yeah.
And most people, when they look at their own image, they say, "I don't photograph well. I don't like my images," and it's because whatever that muscle structure that your brain is forcing you to do when a camera's pointed at you is not what you look like to anybody else.
Yeah.
So my job is to relax you and get you to think about other things. If I'm doing portraiture, I try to talk about things that really excite you in life, things that make you sad, people that excite you. So I bring up conversationally, and that's when people make their real faces, is when they're thinking about something that they love or something that makes them sad. That brings out the emotion that is going to allow me to capture the image that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a real emotion and the real them, versus just smile and take a picture. Anybody can do that. We all have cameras on our hip and in our pocket.
Yeah, how has that changed for you over there? There's this guy I've seen on YouTube. He just walks, "Hey, can I take a picture of you?" And then he has photos that are ready of other pictures that he's taken, and he immediately, "Oh, okay, you're for real. You're not a creepy dude." And sure, and he takes some amazing photos of different people, and they love it. And then folks that are watching, I thought, wow, that's fascinating. You develop a very quick relationship. You have the ability in this digital age where everybody wants to take pictures. How has that changed business for you, in that you already know people are click, click, click. They're always taking pictures of themselves, but they want you to take the better one.
Exactly, and I think that comes down to technology. We have technology and filters that you can make images look amazing just on your iPhone.
I need lots of filters to take away some of the, even if you have great lighting.
When I use the filter, it becomes unrecognizable. Like my eyes, nose, everything goes away.
That'd be a great shot for you.
Yeah, that is a good shot.
Yeah, that's a keeper.
And that's the difference right there, is that that technology exists. I use it in my work, but that doesn't change the emotion that I'm able to bring out of an image and a person by talking to them and spending the time. So, a typical portrait session for me is 3 to 4 hours. So it's not come in, somebody else is coming in. I devote a day to that person's portrait so that they're not rushed. Whether they come in late in the afternoon or early in the morning, they're not going to feel like I'm rushing them through the process.
Now, are you the guy who becomes the artiste and everyone has to respect you? You take one shot, and even if my eyes are closed, that's it. That's my work. You get to be there for several hours, right?
No, that is another difference. I'm looking to create an image that resonates with each person. So I ask for a lot of feedback of what their image of a portrait is, and I try to create that. So I'm basing what I do in my portraiture off of feedback from the customer of what they think. Because there are so many styles of photography that resonate with different people. And that, each person is going to want something slightly different. So I'm not dictating what I do. I have a certain style, but I work within that style with what the customer wants.
And there's one picture that you have of, I'll call her the granny in the Roaring 20s outfit.
Yeah, Jean Morgan.
Jean, really? Okay.
So I did a 50 over 50 portrait exhibit last year, and I'm doing a second one this year. But I had women from 50 all the way up to Jean Morgan, who was 94. Dynamic woman. She was in the Air Force in World War II. She went to the High Museum of Art School and learned art. The photos you see around her in that image are her own work. She plays the spoons for anybody that'll listen.
Get out.
And she's a dynamic 94-year-old woman. And was the purpose of that exhibit, was to bring out what people are doing. The theme of that was, what do you love about the age that you are? So everybody answered that question.
Who doesn't love a woman that can play the spoons?
Exactly.
So 50 women over 50. This was something you did last year in 2024. You're doing it again this year in 2025. How did that come about?
So that was kind of, when I started my studio, I was thinking of how to combine, things that I love to do, which is portraiture, that classic traditional portraiture with, different types of audiences. And the idea came out of conversations with my wife and other family members, where the women were expressing that they didn't feel noticed or appreciated at this point in life, 50, 60 and beyond. And, because media, television really focus on younger women. So even though they've had careers, they've raised families, they've been through the ups and downs and trials and tribulations of life, they kind of felt forgotten. A lot of them are starting businesses at 50, 60 years old, their second passion business, kind of like me. So it was a way to highlight what they're doing and do something that I love at the same time. And it worked out really wonderful. We had 50 vibrant women from 50 to 94, and everybody had a great time.
And you got to do this as a gallery. Talk a little bit about that. You got to do this in the public.
Exactly. So the Efird Art Center is a great little location for art, and I was fortunate enough to have them, accept my photography versus art because of the theme that I was doing. That's what they loved about it. So we had a 2-week gallery exhibit open to the public, which was wonderful. So it wasn't a one-night-only type exhibit. It was 2 weeks where they could bring their family, friends, walk through at their leisure and enjoy their images along with other people's images. And then I also produce a portrait magazine along with that has all of those images and the answer to the question that what they love about that point in their life.
And I would imagine one of the obstacles you have to overcome is people go, you don't want to take a picture of me. People, I don't need a picture taken. Speak to those people for just a moment, and try to sell them. Be your best salesman of why, whether it's a corporate headshot or a legacy photo, a legacy portrait. Come on, help them overcome the obstacles.
So for starters, it's not always just about you, right?
Ooh.
So, most of the time.
Did you hear that, Harper? No, I'm just kidding.
The really.
I thought it was about me, but now I've been told Geoff says no way.
Sorry, go ahead.
Surprisingly enough, it's not. And those images are more important to the people that love you than yourself. So, we've all lost somebody in our life that, we have a portrait of them or a picture of them. That becomes a priceless heirloom. And that's what I love to do, is to create that for the family of that person that I'm photographing. That's really, in my mind, who my client is. It's not the person sitting in front of me as much. I know they're, paying for the portrait and they've shown a desire to have a portrait for various reasons. But it's after they're gone, who is going to be looking at that portrait for perhaps 100 years from now. And this was my great-grandfather, my great-grandmother, and I'm looking in their eyes and I'm connecting with them. And this is a family member. So that's really why I do it.
For those people who are needing to update their corporate headshots, get their very first corporate headshots, or want to do something special for their family and get some kind of legacy portrait, how do they get a hold of you?
Right, so my website is oakstreamimages.com. You can reach me there, or you can go to geoffekstromphotography.com/15 or 15, and you can schedule a 15-minute conversation.
15 or 15? What?
Well, 15 minutes is what it stands for.
Okay.
So you can have a short conversation with me about
But Geoff,
the type of photography you like.
Geoff.
Correct. So,
And then Ekstrom, Ekstrom.
correct. Photography.
Put those two together.
Okay.
And then add a 15.
Or you can go to oakstreamimages.com.
Yeah, that's okay. So either one.
Either one will get you to me, or
And you got to look at his work. It is top notch. It is fantastic. And if you get him at the right time, you might even ask him about what he's been able to do with people's family heirloom photos. But that's for another conversation for another day, not
Thank
for
you,
this
Stephen.
conversation.
But real quick, Geoff,
Yes, sir.
Just one more thing. If you're 49 or younger, there's an audience that you would love to have with them as well, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
the
not
legacy
limiting
portrait
the
is not just over
It's
50.
not the only
Yeah.
type of portraiture.
Yeah,
I do love children, so children's portraiture is another lane that I like to stay in, or portraiture for families. So by all means.
Yeah, and I think my mom, who probably has 200 different pictures on the refrigerator still, all around the
Sounds
house.
like my wife.
Yeah, that's a style that still exists here today.
Geoff Ekstrom from Oakstream Images, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Harper.
Well, Stephen loves a good picture, and
do.
we love folks.
So does your
that-
mom, apparently.
She loves
Yeah.
pictures, especially on the refrigerator with the little magnet, and sometimes with a piece of Scotch tape.
Well, there you go.
Yep. Well, we love pictures as well, but we also love what makes a Subaru, and that's love. We are glad to report that Subaru at 2950 Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, with the phone number of 470-824-3860, they love selling people automobiles. You can visit SubaruofGwinnett.com, and you can join their family today or have a picture taken of their family. You can have a family photo with your Subaru in the driveway. You can come on in and see the difference. If you're already a Subaruist, you can check out their Facebook page for the latest in news, offers, and community events.
So I could get a legacy portrait with my new Subaru.
With the
Me-
Legacy.
Yeah. Right.
Or the Impreza.
Yeah. Or yeah.
Or the BRX.
And you know what we would need to do to get the perfect picture? We would need good lighting. So I'm glad we have Matthew Efird. He is here from Lighting Pros. He is the owner and CEO of Lighting Pros. Matthew, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Lighting Pros, I love when I get to interview businesses that their name tells me exactly what they do. But I'm going to ask you to go into more detail and tell us about Lighting Pros and a little more around what you do.
Sure. So we are an outdoor lighting specialist company. We provide 3 specific service lines. We do temporary Christmas lights. That's our bread and butter. That's what we started doing. We have since transitioned into adding a couple of different service lines in the permanent holiday light space, which are pretty fascinating. I'd love to kind of talk more about those as we go along. And then lastly, landscape lighting. So your architectural lighting, you got this beautiful property, either as a business owner or as a homeowner. How can we accent it? How can we make it safer and also make it the curb appeal, make it look really nice?
So let's start with the year-round stuff. Let's start with the landscape lighting, because I think in the past, it before you started the business, it was, oh yeah, I got a light outside the front door and the back door, and maybe something along a little walkway. What has it morphed into specifically around? You can go residential or commercial, but really the residential. I mean, what's kind of the standard meeting you're having with people?
Well, typically what happened, we mentioned before air about COVID and some things of that changed, right? So a lot of people are spending more time outside. They're enjoying God's creation. They're enjoying their property. They're spending money on a back patio, back decking, or a pool. They want to be able to enjoy that, right? They want the safety of their kids are coming home. They need to be able to walk into the house safely, have it well lit, that you know where the front door is. The security there is really nice. So where this has gone is instead of an afterthought, a lot of the folks that we're working with now is we're part of the design function, either with builders, pool builders, or renovators. This is now a key element within the entire process for a commercial property or for a residential property. How can we accent this beautiful property you're spending money on building? Now let's be able to see it at night. Half of the day it's dark. So how can we enjoy it? How can we elongate our time that we get to enjoy the property?
And just to be clear, you have 5 locations, all in Georgia?
Yeah, so we have 5 locations in Georgia. We're opening up 10 more across the Southeast.
And is all of this, when they work with anyone who works with Lighting Pros, you will handle not only the sale of the lighting, but also the installation?
That is
this,
correct.
This is not something
we are not a distributor of
Got it.
materials.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So what we're doing in the permanent lighting space is we are your consultant. We also come in and show you the design. We're going to do a pretty custom mock-up for your property to show you here's some of that where the elements are going to go, and here's what they're going to look like. So that way you can picture, right? I'm a very audible. I can describe things and understand it. My wife has to see the picture. Completely respect that. A lot of our customers are that way too.
And I was going to say probably the biggest difference is, I go to said box store or said website to order stuff. Talk about the difference between something I'm going to buy that I try to install myself and what the products you're using. I mean, obviously there's a huge difference in the design and talking through it.
Sure.
But just talk about the quality of the product you're using too.
Yeah, so a lot of times that we get folks that will buy stuff off of Amazon, right? And I love Amazon. I shop there.
Everyone does.
Everyone does. But what happens is a lot of times folks will do that. They'll purchase that. Then they're trying to hire somebody locally to install material they did. They're going to use their landscaper. They're going to use Chuck in a truck is what we like to call him. He does his business cards 5 pages long because he does 100 different things. That's the issues that we get is they then call us back afterwards and say either their lights are not bright enough, the color is disproportionate to what they thought. It's a different color palette, or they're having lights coming on and off. It's just they're having issues. So typically, when you're working with a lower end product, it's going to be what's typically called a drop-in product. So you can change out the lights. They're pretty easy to maintenance. They're pretty easy to install. But also, everywhere you have access to water, you're going to have issues and corrosion over time. So a lot of times these products that are cheaper, you get them installed for cheaper and they last for a year, maybe 2, and then you start to have issues with them. Well, if you want an installation that's going to last 20 years, that's a whole different conversation, right? So we have built-in lights that are all connected together. So there's no access to water in them, which is great. It's a fantastic feature. We can also customize. So on the higher end products, we have RGB that's red, green, blue. That means you can change them to any color that you want to. So on your house, on your shrubbery, your columns, these beautiful oak trees that you have in the front yard, if you're an Atlanta Braves fan, because you should be an Atlanta Braves fan.
Amen.
You can change it to red, white, and blue, right? That you have the options to be able to do that. As a Georgia Bulldog fan, you can paint them red, right? I mean, there's a way that we can do things creatively. One of the things that one of the products that we have that's really nice is in between lights, the RGB works 600 feet. There's nothing else on the market that even comes close to that. So when you're looking for some of these larger properties, if you have a long entranceway into your drive and you have these beautiful trees that you want lit, there is no current way outside of the suppliers that we have to be able to do that. You can do them warm white, the classic kind of warm white light, but if you want some of the higher end options, you need to be able to have that.
The technology has absolutely changed. I used to be told with my Christmas lights, first of all, don't stick your finger in the socket, right? That was my dad giving me
Wait,
my
I'm going to write this down.
Don't do that. And don't lick it while it's on, because that'll burn burn your face.
So
up.
Def Leppard was wrong when they said lick it up?
Don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've learned that don't do it. But that was years ago, and now through the app, through phones, it is amazing. The color changes, the options that you can do, the party lights that you can want to have, or the one from a safety or even a home valuation perspective. My house looks a little bit better right now, and somebody's going to pay for it when I want to sell it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
You get to be a part of all of that.
We do. And so we have a couple of suppliers that we work with, of trusted vendors that have all of these products integrated into one system. So you can hang patio, the big bulb, like they're called Edison bulbs, bistro lights. You can hang those outside.
Bistros, yeah, okay. I've heard of those.
Hang those around your pool. Don't hang them over your pool, please. Whatever you do not hang them over your pool. Hang them around your pool.
Don't do that either. Okay. Steve.
So don't hang them over your pool. I'll say that one more time. Hang them around your pool. Hang them in areas that you want to be able to enjoy that. Also integrate it with your landscape lighting and your permanent lights. So let me talk about the permanent lights for a second, right? This industry is exploding, especially here in Atlanta. What we're seeing is folks love the temporary lights, the Christmas lights, the bread and butter that we started back in 2018 installing. But what's happened is they've said, I love the lights. I just want to be able to enjoy them more. And there's products that have come onto the market now that we can install one-time installation, and you're going to have burn time of about 27 years. So the lights we will guarantee for the life of the lights. We will guarantee the service. So what that looks like is we come and install the lights in a track system. We color match the paint to your house or to your business. It seamlessly integrates in, but at night you have access and control of every single bulb on the strand. So what you can do let's take your home, for instance. Let's say you don't want it to look like Christmas all year long. That's fine. We can set in the settings on your app, and you can click one button that's architectural lighting. It looks like you have landscape lighting in one button. But then February comes around and you want to celebrate Valentine's Day. You can click
red or pink?
You can click the red or pink button. My boys love it because they get on their birthdays, they get to pick the colors of the lights, right?
Wow.
They get to pick it, and it's their fun thing for their birthday.
4th of July.
4th of July, Veterans Day, Easter, Halloween, across the board, you get complete access.
What about when Georgia Tech wins the national champion? Can you go with the blue and gold for them?
You could.
Blue
I don't
and
know.
gold?
I don't know how long it's going to be since when that happens again. But
okay.
But
As a Bulldog, you
may
want to sub that out to somebody else. Yeah.
2 years ago, we were in the golf national championship. I just want to say that. So, it does happen.
We love our Georgia Tech fans.
Absolutely.
So,
because they pay you.
Because
anyway.
they do. They do. But it gives you options to be able to, you can connect it to music. You can make them run around the house. You can do different design elements. You can change every bulb, every other bulb. We have tutorials on how to do it. We have a lot of pre-programmed sets.
You need a degree to know all this stuff, don't you?
No, you don't, because within the app, within our system, we actually have all this pre-programmed. So if you're tech savvy and you want to go in and customize it, you can. But you can also pull it up and say, okay, I have these 5 different options for Easter. Let me click on one of the 5. Then it's real easy to set up.
I'm sitting here thinking, you talked about how people can visualize this. They may need a picture or they can audibly go through this. I'm sitting here thinking that it almost sounds at this point, as we're doing this conversation in the year 2025, that you guys are only limited by a potential client's imagination. It's almost like a challenge of, what do you want in your outdoor lighting? And we'll tell you, because if we can't do it, it's coming soon, but I can almost guarantee we can do it. So I do want to ask this question. You've been working with residential and commercial. I'm not going to necessarily ask you to call out particular residential clients because that's confidential. Where should we go to maybe see examples of your work? If we're driving around, if we drive by a certain office and go, ooh, look at that. Okay, I bet Lighting Pros did that.
Yeah, so we have a lot of locations. That's a great question. We work with about 3 dozen Chick-fil-A's here in the Atlanta area. We work with their corporate office. We work with the Ritz-Carlton, Emory Healthcare. We have a lot of larger commercial clients we have the opportunity to work with. One of our stores is just down the road here from the Gas House District, where your shop is here.
The one on the corner of Sugarloaf. That's one of my favorite Chick-fil-A's.
One of our facilities.
So when you see a beautiful Chick-fil-A, especially lit up at night, you guys are responsible for that.
Most likely.
30-some locations.
Yeah.
If you see one that's not lit up well, then they're not working with Lighting Pros.
They're not working with us, but we'd be honored to.
They need to be. You were we joked about the Georgia Tech. Let me heap some praise upon you as a former Bulldog, because you did go to the University of Georgia and you made the top 10 in the Bulldog 100, which is the 100 fastest growing companies founded or managed by UGA alumni. What was it like to receive that? Were you even looking for it? And it was like,
we weren't.
Yeah.
And it was truly, it came what we felt like out of left field, that we had experienced some pretty substantial growth year over year throughout post-COVID growth. And so what we were looking at is we were building our team, we were starting our franchise system, helping other locations experience the same success that we had. And we got nominated for this, submitted all of our paperwork, and we got told, hey, you are a member of the Bulldog 100. Come to this dinner on this date. It's going to be at the football stadium, which as a Bulldog fan was very fun to go to, right? And we got to go into the locker room, and then they started calling names. And we're sitting there, and it's like they call number 100, and there's a sigh of relief from the other 99 people that are not number 100, right? It's an honor to be on the list, but it's also like, at least I wasn't last. And so we're sitting there, and it's my wife and I and my brother who works with us, and we keep getting kind of closer and closer to the top 10, and we're like, God, what are you doing? Like, this is amazing.
At any point as they're going, let's say they get around 15, 14, at any point did you have the thought, did they make a mistake in calling us?
100%. I promise. We forgot us. We got in the top 50, and I thought, we're not supposed to be here. We are not supposed to be here. And then they got in the top 25, and we're looking at each other like, is this real? And then it gets to the top 15, and we're like, there's no way. And then they got to the top 10 and they changed speakers, and we're sitting there like, okay, I mean, maybe we're going to just sneak out the back. And then they called us, and I said, okay, wow, this is amazing. So it's really a testament to us. It's a testament to the quality of the installations that we do, the teams that we've built, and our customers. We have amazing customers that we've been very blessed to work with that continue to use our services year over year, and they also refer us, right? That's what a testament to the quality of work that we do when you're willing to refer somebody, a friend, a neighbor, a colleague to the business.
Well, I imagine not so much with you, but if your wife is a visual person, you get to make her happy every time that she gets to turn the lights on. And as an auditory person, well, you get to hear her delight, right? And as kinetic, Steven's the kinetic guy. He gets to thump. He gets to feel how happy the rest of the family is. The technology has changed, but surge protectors, safety values, money. It's going to cost a couple of bucks every month, depending on what you do. It's not that expensive. Now, the installation has a cost to it, but upkeep of running this and having a house that looks exactly the way that you envisioned it, you get to fulfill that dream for a lot of people.
Yes, you're going to rarely see any kind of impact on your monthly electric bill because what we're running is all of the energy efficiency of the LEDs, right? When you look back, okay, let's take the temporary Christmas lights, for instance. 10 years ago, it was predominantly the incandescent bulbs. They look pretty, but when one of them goes out, all of them go out, right? They're a fire hazard. They get really hot. They're an issue. What happens now? The technology.
But I've kept all those strands, and they're in this big.
You throw them away. Just throw them away.
You don't keep the spider web of Christmas joy. You can't do that. All right.
No. They price them so that you throw them away and just go get another one.
Away. So what we use is a bulb called an SMD LED bulb, and why that's really fascinating. So if you're holding a pen, if you're listening to this, and you're holding a pen. Maybe you're taking notes because that'd be great. But the top of the pen, right, the pen cap, if you were to point that at the ceiling, it's like a spotlight. Imagine a light bulb. The older LED light bulbs were like a spotlight. And so what would happen is as they would point in different directions, the imperfections of the property, say the roof, imperfections along the roof, the shingles, they're angled at different angles. So they're setting the light bulb. Some of them are setting perfectly straight. Some of them are setting a little bit more towards you and a little bit further away from you, if you can imagine that. What that would do is it makes all of them look like they're different colors, which looks really bad, right? I mean, across the board.
There's no consistency.
There's no consistency. And so what we've done is the new technology, the SMD LED bulbs, they actually illuminate the entire light bulb. And so it does not matter what direction the light bulb is pointed. That goes for our permanent lights. That goes for our temporary Christmas lights as well. That kind of technology that the entire bulb or the entire diode's illuminated.
Real quick, up and down lighting, like tree up. That means that from the ground, there's a light that goes up into the tree and the branches and the leaves and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure that you have a recommendation of what you would like to do, but there are some people that go, no, I want to have a house. From a house, I want it to go down.
Sure.
And yes, we can do that, but this would look better. There's a little bit of artistic portion of this for you, is where I got to do what the customer wants, but I'm also going to make sure that they know what the options are and try to pick the best one out for them.
We're
in their home.
definitely, that's kind of part of our consulting process, right? That we come in and as a resource to the homeowner to make their home look the way they want it to. So the down lighting can be used on the home to illuminate different parts of the home really pretty. It can also be used as more moonlighting down on the property to illuminate walkways in a very creative way. So there's lots of options that you can do. What we have found is most customers take paralysis by analysis and they just feel like it's way too much. So our job is to help direct them in the area. We've done enough installations at this point that we say, your home is beautiful, here's the way we'd accent it. If you want to make some tweaks from there, we can.
And please forgive me if I don't know the right terminology. The intensity of the light, you can filter that. You can have full 85-watt bulb is what we're used to, but you can also go down to where it's just barely on at all and really a mood setter, right?
Yes, that is correct. All of our stuff is on dimmers. All of it's on digital timers, which allows you a lot of flexibility that we can actually dim per light or per the strand, per the zone. So there's a lot of options there.
But for heaven's sake, don't do the Edison Bistro lights over your pool.
Please do not.
Please do not.
Please do
I
not.
was thinking about that, but now I'm not going
I'm just
to.
reminding you.
While I stick my
So
finger in the
services
socket.
still include the annual Christmas light. I mean, you
That
guys
is
still
correct.
do that. There are
That is
clients who
correct.
We haven't talked about Christmas lights.
Okay, we can't.
I know.
We're running out of time.
I know we are,
I'm
but-
sorry.
I'll come back.
Yeah, exactly. See, the good interview makes people go, I want to hear more. So you do still have the Christmas lights, the landscape lights, event lighting, permanent RGB lights, and other permanent lighting for both residential and commercial areas you install in Georgia. You are opening other locations outside the state of Georgia as we're having this conversation. Where do people go to talk to you about their lighting needs?
That's fantastic. You can reach us at thelightingpros.com. That's thelightingpros.com or 770-224-0484.
I'm so glad you did not name your website A Lighting Pro or some kind of lighting pro. You are the Lighting
We are
Pros.
the
I
Lighting
like that.
Pros.
TheLightingPros.com, 770-224-0484. Matthew Efird, thank you so much for being here today.
Truly my honor. Thank you.
I love it. Fantastic. Harper, Matthew said something I want to talk about before we go. He talked about chucking a truck. You know, I know people of our age and people who've had houses and lived places for a while. Almost everybody's got a chuck in a truck story, and usually we regret it. There's a lot more that we regret than we go, oh, chuck in a truck turned out to be fantastic. Yeah. And I apologize for our listeners named Chuck. Especially
we
if
could
they
have two
own
guys
truck.
in a truck. That's another guy.
Yep.
You
Well,
know, that we all know about that guy.
And I was thinking, if it wasn't Chuck in a truck, was it Phil in a Ford, or Charlie in a Chevy, or Gene in a GMC, or Paul in a Pacer? Actually, when
Michael and Geoff to do the lighting and to take a picture of how good your house is going to look after he's done with the lighting.
Well, and I was thinking, so when he said Chuck in a truck, I'm old enough that I was thinking, oh, you mean Mr. Haney on Green Acres? That was the reference. Which Matthew's young enough, he doesn't get that reference unless he grew up watching Channel 36 or 46 or whatever.
He's not old enough to remember that he had to climb up to the top of the telephone booth to make a call.
Exactly. All right. I want to thank one more time Matthew Efird from Lighting Pros and also Geoff Ekstrom from Oakstream Images. Want to thank Dan for producing the show. Harper, I want to thank you for being a trusty co-host, and I want to thank Mike for not coming out of his cubicle yet.
Yeah, he doesn't want to take pictures.
Look, so we've done such a good job. Dan doesn't even know when to do the outro music, but I think I'm ready to go, Dan. So go ahead, hit that outro music. There you go. Oh, it's new outro music. It's so uplifting.
See, if you were here last week, you would have known that.
I know I wasn't here, but I'll be here next week, I hope. And Harper, thanks for being here. Dan, thanks for producing. And we will catch you next time with this great new intro and outro. When will it not be new? I don't know. We'll catch you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio.